Riles, it's time for a top 5.
You really all the rage today.
Oh, absolutely. Let the rage flow. So, folks, now that we've spent some time in Positive Town, let's drop back into Negativeville. All right?
I guess Daredevil was positive.
Daredevil was very positive. As we mentioned, phenomenal, genuine, faithful adaptation of a tremendous character and characters with Daredevil and Wilson Fisk. It just got us thinking, what are the opposite end of that? What are some of the worst portrayals of characters that we have had the displeasure of witnessing and experiencing in the MCU in particular?
Yeah, if we included DC, this list was just...
DC will be its own list someday.
Yes,
yeah. I didn't want to burn both candles so quickly.
Yep, that's fair. I mentioned it. I'm like, oh, that might actually just take over the list. I think they have way worse castings than Marvel ever did.
Yeah, so this can come down to, like poor casting or just misuse of a character or portraying the character in a way that just has little to no bearing on who the flick they really are in the comics. So, without further ado, Riley, you go first.
Okay, my number 5 is Iron Fist. Because this was at a time when they were really going with the Netflix street level characters, and I don't feel like Iron Fist at this time had enough gas to have his own show. And on top of that, I don't know if the casting was there. Okay, the only other thing I've ever seen that guy in was Game of Thrones.
Yep.
And that character had a rough go in Game of Thrones. Okay, we won't get into his character of Game of Thrones. You can look him up. But anywho. So, this was just like, it was an interesting choice because I was not like a super big fan of that character in Game of Thrones either. So I was like, okay, let's see what he can do with this. And I don't know if it was just him or poor writing or whatever, but I had little to no interest in what Iron Fist was doing. Yeah. I couldn't believe it got a second season. To me, I don't know why they just didn't do Heroes for Hire and just have Luke Cage and Iron Fist together from the get-go. Like, don't get me wrong, Iron Fist's background is super interesting. But, like, I don't think he had enough juice go. And they tried with Colleen Wing, and she was not bad in that show. But, like, and now, was Misty Knight in his show as well?
Oh, I don't remember.
I know she was in. She wasn't. Was she in Luke Cage?
She was definitely in Luke Cage.
And was
I
she?
just don't remember her being in Iron Fist.
She was either in Jessica Jones.
Jessica Jones. There you go.
That's I knew she was in another one.
Yep.
So I don't know. To me, I needed a little bit more.
And they didn't do what they did with Daredevil. They didn't just rip it right out of the comics.
No.
So they didn't know what they had, and they didn't do a good job with it. And listen, we saw Shang-Chi and the Ten Rings, many moons later. Great. Kung Fu.
That's exactly what that should have been.
Where was the Kung Fu? That's the whole point of the damn character.
And on top of that, I couldn't tell you who the villain was. I couldn't tell you. Yeah. Can you tell me? Do you remember? No one remembers who the villain was in Iron Fist. No. That's a problem.
Correct.
So...
Correct. Yeah, not a good portrayal.
Number 5, Iron Fist.
Yep. My number 5 is Kingpin in Hawkeye. Okay, so not Kingpin overall. I'm being very specific here. Kingpin in all 3 seasons of Daredevil and in the more recently witnessed Echo. Awesome portrayal of the character. For some reason, we put him in Hawkeye, had him wear a Hawaiian shirt.
That's the best part.
And get his butt kicked by a teenage girl with a bow and arrow. Okay. For some reason, they chose to neuter Kingpin super hard. Truly no idea why.
Plot armor.
Oh, jeez. I remember being so excited during the first time I watched Hawkeye. Well, actually, first and only time I watched Hawkeye and going, oh my gosh, they're bringing Kingpin in. Incredible! And then it was just a cliff. It wasn't downhill. It was you got pushed off a cliff with no freaking parachute. Terrible portrayal of the character. He was just weak. He wasn't ruthless. It was tough.
Luckily, he gets redeemed in Echo, which I never thought I would say that.
I know.
But he did get redeemed in Echo.
Thank goodness. Yep, thank freaking goodness. So anyway, that's my number 5. Okay, my number 4, MODOK.
Ooh, interesting. Okay.
Quantum Mania. Listen, it was funny. Okay, it was. I laughed, and will laugh again if I ever watch that movie. But also, just like, what a bummer! What a bummer that they couldn't even make the character look worth a crap. Like, should there be some funniness? Of course, it's a freaking huge head.
Like, he's supposed to be ridiculous. Lean into it a little bit.
It is, like, there's absolutely an element of ridiculousness to it. But the fact that it was so clearly half-baked from the design and execution point of view, and to have freaking Darren from the first Ant-Man movie, like, be inside the MODOK helmet, it's like, that just shouldn't have ever been a thing. Like, that, just don't do that. Like, just don't do it. If that's what you're going to do with the character, that was one of those, if this is really what we're doing, just don't touch it.
Yeah, see, I like it. I like him a lot better in the comics, obviously.
Yep.
But to me, it was a lot more reasonable of how he ended up in that than like in the comics.
Yep.
Where his head just gets so big that his limbs just do this, and then he floats around.
Yeah, it's going to be ridiculous no matter what. I probably have most of a beef with just the fact that it looked so butt cheeks.
Right.
It was just tough. Honestly,
if you want a really good portrayal of MODOK, look up some clips from the Avengers video game. By the way, shit video game. Okay. It had so much potential, and execution was not great at all. But they made him actually scary.
Right.
And he was less of just a giant head, and he was more a giant head, still decently sized body. Yeah. Anyways, go look at him a little bit. Actually, not bad.
That's good. So that's my number 4, MODOK.
My number 4. Zeus from Thor 4.
Oh, jeez.
So,
dude.
Now, don't get me wrong.
Dude.
The Greek gods are known for their philandering.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? Especially Zeus. Mm-hmm. All right? The dude pretended to be a goose and got a girl knocked up. Is that correct? I'm pretty sure. Anywho, either that or he knocked a goose up. One of the two.
Neither is good.
No, neither is good. Okay? Zeus, the most unloyal dude I've ever heard of in my life.
Yeah.
Okay?
Not a good partner.
So they nailed that in this.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But he was not intimidating at all.
Jeez.
The original God of Thunder.
Right.
Maybe the original. I don't know who came first.
The God of Gods.
Essentially, the guy that when you think of gods outside of our Lord Jesus Christ,
mm-hmm.
God bless,
mm-hmm.
outside of that, you go Greeks, you go Zeus.
Mm-hmm.
I was not scared of Zeus at all.
No.
And then he just gets offed.
Right.
And he doesn't die. But
right.
You think he dies, and you're like, that's it?
It was just such a goofball portrayal.
And you had Russell Crowe! So Zeus is my number 4.
That's a good pick. Really good pull. You're number 3, sir.
Oh, yeah. Me again.
Yes.
Number 3. If this isn't on your list, I'm actually going to be mad at you. Flash Thompson in the MCU.
Interesting. Great pull. No, great pull. Not on my list. Didn't even think of it, but great pull.
Terrible.
Yeah.
Terrible. That is not Flash Thompson. No. I do not care. Flash Thompson, first of all, do you want to know?
He's a jock.
First of all, the first Flash Thompson, Joe Mangia. I don't even not even try that.
I know.
Who's playing Deathstroke, by the way? That should set the tone. Okay, the dude's a badass.
Completely physically different person.
By the way, on a whole nother note, rumors say that if Sam Raimi gets the Secret Wars job to direct, he has already thrown his hat in to play an alternate version of Flash Thompson, where he plays Agent Venom. All in. Mm-hmm. Give him all my money. Okay. This Flash Thompson, not intimidating at all.
Right.
Now, did they nail the Spider-Man fan in him? Absolutely. Mm-hmm. Because that is part of Flash, which is hilarious, is he's a huge Spider-Man fan.
Right.
That's it. There's nothing intimidating. Even the one from Amazing Spider-Man, that dude was intimidating.
Yeah.
This Flash, not at all.
No.
Not at all.
It's just not the character.
No,
it's just not Flash Thompson.
He's a turd.
Correct.
That's all he is.
Correct.
In the first 2, he's actually a bully.
Right.
This guy's just a turd.
Yeah. Yeah. You can flushing. Love it. Great pull. My number 3 is the Mandarin. Why bother? Truly.
We're talking Iron Man 3, right?
Iron Man 3.
Not the...
Yeah, they're trying to, like, retcon it in Shang-Chi, and I'm just like, I still don't even buy that. That's the thing. Like, it doesn't even redeem it for me. It's like, you're not the Mandarin. Like, don't... This was never part of the plan, right? You're just trying to publicly say I'm sorry without saying I'm sorry. What, truly, why bother if you're not going to take the character seriously? You can give him a different power set. He doesn't have to have 10 magical rings. It's okay if you're going, that doesn't really jive with...
I disagree.
With the Iron Man thing.
I want him to have 10 magical rings. I would love to see him do that.
I'm giving them that. I'm trying to give them that grace just to illustrate how ridiculous it was, where they're going, no, listen, here's what we're going to do instead. He's not actually going to be a villain. He's going to be played by a, drunk and cracked up British actor. And he's just going to completely be a red herring. That's cool, right? Great. One of Iron Man's most foundational, important villains. Outstanding. Let's roll with that. What are we doing? How does that get approved? Like, that was nonsense. That was absolute nonsense. It's just disrespectful. It's like,
and then they pick Killian.
Good.
And you're like, this dude's not even sure, he's got more with Stark, but come on.
That was ridiculous. All right. My number 2. Okay. This is a little bit of a unique stretch in the boundaries pull kind of here. Thor's villains, Malekith, the Frost Giants, and Gore. You talked about don't kill the freaking villains? Hello?
Yeah.
Malekith in the comics is Thor's Joker. He is a menace. He is chaos personified. We got none of that in Thor the Dark World, and he gets offed just like that. Gore is unfreaking stoppable. Done. Just like that. The Frost Giants, they're giants.
Yeah.
They're huge. They're a problem. And they're just, no. Thor just goes over there on a whim because he's a young, foolish kid. He's like, you're done. Gotcha. Toast.
The Destroyer, is that in there? Or that
I didn't even think of the Destroyer, but you're right.
That got off really quick, too.
Gosh,
from what I remember.
These are elite level opponents that are just getting defeated, and not just defeated, but permanently defeated, as in killed so quickly. Done dirty. And just so unfortunate, because there should be epic struggle here like there was with Hela. She was a phenomenal villain.
Only one they hit.
Only one out of 4 tries. So, Thor's villains in movies 1, 2, and 4.
Yeah, I didn't.
My beefs.
Here's the thing: I didn't even include any of the Thor villains on my list because I don't remember them.
They're so forgettable.
Minus Gore, and that's just because it's fresh.
Yes,
but at the same time, it's like,
I know
it's not technically him.
No,
that's a problem. It's the execution. Anyways.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
So
exactly.
My number 2 is the Mandarin. Okay, and we probably both share a number 1. But anyways,
I know your number 1. Mine's gonna surprise you a little bit.
So first of all, if my number 1 didn't make your list, that's absolutely insane. Anyways, that's absolutely insane. Now, Mandarin, I remember sitting in theaters. And by the way, when Ben Kingsley was announced for that, I was like, this is going to be awesome.
I know.
Because I was like, he can, handle the room. And I remember, I was 14?
How could you not be excited?
13? I don't know. I was a middle school, high school kid. I was like, are you kidding me?
Mm-hmm.
They butchered it entirely. And we could keep going and going and going on that. But yeah, that's my number 2.
Yeah.
I've never felt highway robbery at that level.
It was ridiculous.
And number 1, this shouldn't surprise anyone at all.
Nope.
Because if you've been with us for as long as you've had, back when we were in Jordan's old house, shout out to that old house.
10th Street.
We watched Black Widow, and I went on a tangent, and I was furious. So number 1 is Taskmaster by a mile. First of all, She's doesn't even talk. Doesn't even talk.
Like, what are we doing?
Number 2,
What are we doing?
the suit is terrible.
It's
Doesn't resemble Taskmaster at all. It's ugly. It's so ugly.
And it's an awesome suit in the comics.
Just like the face underneath it. No offense to the actress. Now, in her defense, it was pretty scarred up from like all the bombing and stuff. But anyways, and then that twist. And by the way, I saw it coming, and I was like, no, don't do it. No, gross. And they still pulled the trigger. And I was like, no, it's an absolute atrocity. The only thing that I could fix it, and it's not even it's not going to be Thunderbolts. Okay, there's 2 things that could fix it. 1, Deadpool 3.
Yep.
Deadpool 3, Ryan, for the love of God, Ryan, do it. Pull the trigger. Give us a real, actual Taskmaster. That would be great. I would love to see that with Deadpool. Anyways, that, and then number 2 is when the Thunderbolts comes out, because for some goddamn reason, they're like, you know who we should, you know who we should bring back, because
Taskmaster be
they were so well received. Let's just bring back half the Black Widow cast for the Thunderbolts. You brought Taskmaster back, subjectively the worst character portrayal of all time. Terrible, awful, no good.
No.
Bad.
Very bad.
The fact that that's not your number 1 is absolutely insane.
Truly for the sake of variety, because I knew you were going to be on that hill, and I totally agree. Terrible. My number 1 is just Nick Fury in Secret Invasion. They did him so dirty. So dirty. Nick Fury would never marry a Skrull.
That's super
weird.
weird.
Freaking doing?
That was super weird.
No.
It was actually uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Not semi. It was uncomfortable. Because I was like, ooh.
All right, I got to urinate like a racehorse.
you go ahead.
I'm out.
I'll
Nick Fury, Secret Invasion.
I'll finish it.